So you're newer to Escape from Tarkov, and you don't know how to get over that gear fear. Let's talk about that. Are you ready? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Halfman, and welcome to the video. Now, if you're clicking on this video, you will, amongst many others, probably thinking the exact same thing. How in the world do I get over this fear of just not wanting to bring that awesome loot that I just got from a raid, or this awesome loot that I can buy from the traders into a raid? How do I get over that fear? It's killing me. I need to get out there with this loot and be able to do stuff with it. For the life of me, I just can't drag myself to do it. I use the same thing over and over and over without thinking about bringing anything new, and I just can't make anything happen at all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to see about helping you out today. And hopefully it does. And if it does, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ding the notification bell, hit that like button. But let's do this. Let's have that discussion. Now, gear fear is going to mean something different to you and to the person next to you and the person across from you. It's going to mean something different every single time. So I'm going to try to explain different ways to get over these gear fear situations that you're having in different situations that you may be feeling. Some it may be situational map awareness. Some of you could be just needing to get over the mental feeling of it. And I'm going to try to explain everything to you in today's video. And to start off and talk about that stuff, I think we're going to start with your maps. Now, every time that I speak to people, I ask them a few questions when they ask me the question of how do I get over gear fear, and it has to do with the map. I'll ask them a few things. Is it the extracts? Is it just the map in general? Is it where you actually can travel through the map? Or is it, I'm not really sure where people may be sitting. And those factors can all come together to be combined into one, because it just comes down to not knowing the map. And there's multitudes of reasons that may be. One, you just got the game. Two, you didn't really want to learn anything about the maps. You just wanted to jump in and have fun, which is understandable. But you're now at that point where you're looking at Tarkov and going, okay, I paid X amount of money. Now I want to start taking this thing seriously so I can actually learn it versus just sitting on my desktop or me uninstalling the game and just not giving it more of a try. And I can understand all those options, but we're going to start with the option number one, and that is learning. And that's what we're here to do today, is to learn all about that information, because there is so much that you can learn before getting to the steps of thinking about uninstalling or just going and playing a different game. Because I'm here for you, and I'm going to be through this journey with you. And like I said, the first thing I want to talk about is the maps. Now, most of you will decide that, hey, the only way I can learn the maps is just get some gear, get into the game, and just jump in and start playing. It's an option. It is definitely an option, but you have to remember that the consequences of that is that most likely you're going to die, and you have to start from scratch and square one, which is okay. That's the experience of Tarkov. It is a brutal game. It always will be a brutal game, but that is okay. You're learning in a much more difficult capacity versus what you could be doing. Now, what I would recommend, and I recommend to every single person that joins this game, that joins the community, please check out the one feature that no one ever checks out because they think it's a waste of their time. And it's not. It's the simplest tool that everyone just looks over and just goes straight into fighting other players and fighting scavs and looking for loot. And that is to use the offline mode. Now, it is a very simple tool, a very simple, easy tool that most people oversee. And it's super easy to do. All you have to do is click on Escape from Tarkov, click on your PMC, click Next. Find that map that you want to learn first. Let's just use customs as an example, okay? Whether you want to learn it at nighttime, whether you want to learn it at daytime, it runs off a 24-hour clock. If you don't know what the 24-hour clock system is, go check out a clock on Google, and it will tell you exactly what those times mean. After that, choose time, click it, just click Next once, and stop. At that point, you have multiple options. You have choosing the offline mode, which is what we're doing first. You're going to click that box. Once you click that box, you choose what you want to do from there. You want to do either two things. One, just click Next and get into the raid so you can learn the next step. Or two, if you want to have that little extra learning ability, which I don't think is really necessary, and that is to add PvE. I would usually recommend against doing that. It's not necessary. There's enough maps that will teach you where the scavs will go, and the other steps we'll talk about later on. We'll cover all the things when it comes to killing scavs and players and whatnot. So what I recommend is, after you've clicked on the offline mode, click that checkbox, hit ready, and get into the map. And then once you've been inside the map, the next step you're gonna have to do is a few things. One, I'm gonna recommend you find either a map of, let's just say custom, since that's the one we're working on. Either find a map of customs, or two, you wanna go over, find a video on YouTube that says run through of customs or explaining of customs, a map guide of customs, and follow along with those maps. The biggest thing, the reason why people have such a fear of bringing the extra loot or bringing that new gear set is because they don't understand the maps. They don't understand the routes. They don't understand the extracts. They don't understand the spawns, how they work, and where the other spawns are at. They don't understand what kind of routes they should be taking throughout the map to either survive or get into PvP situations and then extract. And the biggest thing I can recommend is playing a map offline, bringing up a map of the actual place that you're playing, and learn where those extracts are at. You're looking for those monuments, if you're like on customs, you're looking for the construction site, which is like, the big building right next to, let's just say, the crack house, which has got all the chemicals in it. It's got all the medical supplies that you can get. There's a versatile things that you need to learn in just walking through that guide and saying, okay, this is, say I spawn next to Big Red. This is where I can start making my route now, how I get across the map. And yes, there is a time limit in the offline mode, but you can always just reset it again, and you don't lose gear. You only lose a little bit of time. And what I think people have forgotten throughout your time of playing video games is that you're not always going to get it the first time. You've got to take your time, and sometimes you got to learn. And Tarkov has so much stuff to learn. It's basically multiple games into one, and you need to learn all the mechanics. So take your time, play some offline, and learn the game. It will save you so much time later on in the future, so much frustration, and it'll get you better at learning the maps, which will help remove that gear fear from your mind. The next one I would discuss that I feel like is probably in my opinion, is probably the hardest one to get over of gear fear, and that is the comfortability of what you're used to bringing in. Because when you start level 1, you've only got certain things that are available to you, and you have to figure out, what you want to use, and how could you use that, whether or not you've got, like, say, the EOD edition, or if you've got the basic account edition, because you're gonna have, X amount of things that are available to you right away that are, either high tier loot or small tier loot, and then you got to use it. But when you start losing all this stuff, then you've got to start sticking with what level 1 traders have. So your brain starts to get yourself into that whole mentality of, okay, this is what's available to buy at tier 1 or level 1 traders. This is what you've trained your brain to be used to. And anything beyond this is great, cool, I've got that loot, but now I've got to get myself away from this in a sense. So let's just say, use an example. You've got the MBSS here, and we'll just take off all this other stuff. We're doing this live, so we're gonna do this all together. So we'll take off the suit that we have right now. If I have room for all this stuff. I may not actually have room for all these things. We'll just stick this right in the middle for now. But let's just say, for an example, you're trying to figure out how to get over your gear fear right now, and you're not exactly sure how to do that. And you end up getting yourself, a lot of items. So let's just say, for right now, you've got the basic setup, and this is your basic setup, which is just, the bank robber, MBSS, you got level 2 armor, SSH, contacts, and you got that AK-74 U, which is great. It's a good kit. It'll get you through the game, the early game, and it'll let you actually learn the game, and you're gonna get some kills scavs, some kills of players, depends on who you run into. But let's just say you get super lucky, and you kill with it. Only when we put the exfil in there, because this is pretty even more late. We'll just say you kill the guy with the ULAT. Now you've got yourself a better set of tools, and you get rid of the backpack. You take that. You take the backpack of his. You remove your bank robber. These are the things you're comfortable with. So rigs is not a huge deal. Rigs and backpack, whether I lose it, whether I get it, it's not a big deal. I know I could just get those. They're super cheap later on. But then you start getting to the other stuff. You know, you either drop this and you'll grab the armor and the helmet because you know that at least it'll get you out of the raid. You don't have to worry about it. And then you get your contacts. If you think swords are cooler, you take those. But you keep obviously your weapon. Take the M4. Now you got yourself a whole new set. But you get out of the raid. You live. You're taking that breath, saying that was really cool. I got out. I'm gonna remove that and hold on to it and hope that one day maybe I'll really enjoy all this stuff. But I think I'll go back to my old set because that was old reliable, and hey, if it could get that stuff, it could do it again, and then I'll just hold on to that stuff again for later. And that's where the cycle begins, the comfort zone. That comfort zone that you keep putting yourself into. Hey, you know, shiny little toys, little trophies that I've got in my stash that I can show my friends that looks really, really cool, but I never use them. And that's where you have to tell yourself, step one, when you're looking to replace your stuff after that raid that you've gotten all that cool stuff, don't do it. Don't do it. Instead of replacing all the stuff, keep it on, put it back on, and say, okay, let's repair this. Unless the gazelle is completely destroyed, bring it back in. You know, the ULAC, repair it, get all the stuff back to where it should be. And then look at that M4 and go, okay, I've got this M4 now. It's better than the AKS-74U that had nothing on it. Like I said, I don't know how this weapon works. Same tip before. Go with the offline mode. Learn the weapon. Once you've learned that weapon, awesome. You can bring that out, and you can have a better weapon to use. And just slowly but surely start bringing different pieces in. You know, you don't want to like take the say keep the ULAC on, but bring in the level 2 armor. That's not going to help you in any sense because someone that's using the same round that will protect you from, you know, on the ULAC is not going to protect you in the body. You can get destroyed. So just remember, pair good armor with good armor, good weapons with good armor and whatnot. If you've got it available, use it because, you know, you could take this set now and find another kill and go boom. All right, there's an M1A I got a kill from. I got the guy's backpack with all this good stuff that's inside of it. You know, that's got all this really crazy loot that I got from the last kill. And then you can bring that out and you can vice versa and you can go, okay, I've learned that set now. Let's say I want to use the same armor, but get rid of the M4. I bring in the M1A, give that a try, and you got all these different sets. It's something that takes time to learn, but training your brain to go, okay, I can let go of this early game armor and bring out that good stuff that I just got the kill from. And it's not that you're scared anymore. It's that you learned what you can use with it, what stops it, and it trains your brain to go, okay, I can do this. Now, the whole gear fear of maps also brings me into the gear fear of the weapons. Now, you're probably using just like an SKS, you're using an AK variant, but there's nothing on it. They're not modded. They're just simple weapons that you know, either bought off the traders or you found while killing scavs throughout the map. These are all things that you're going to end up using at the beginning of your, of your account, which is fine and it's understandable. But you say, let's say, for instance, you kill someone with an MCX, and now you have yourself an MCX, but you have no idea how in the world an MCX works. What kind of ammo does it take? What can I actually do to, make this gun better? There's a whole bunch of things that we could talk about, and it goes into the modding of everything. We're just going to talk about the functionality of these weapons. That's really all it comes down to. How do I know what the difference between these weapons are, and what can I do to understand them? And that comes back to, again, using the offline feature. This is going to help you out so much. And a lot of these answers can be answered by just learning them without having to do much work. And that is pretty much going to offline and learning the guns. Like a lot of questions people, ask me questions of, how do I know what this gun can shoot through the objects? Like, what kind of objects can it shoot through? I don't want to shoot a bunch of bullets because I'm just wasting a bunch of money then, and then I'm going to spend more rubles and then end up going more broke just for a weapon that I'm learning right now. Well, I always tell everyone, grab a bunch of ammo that's super cheap. You could, let's just say, for example, like the M4 here. It uses a very cheap round, like the M855. It costs $2 a round. It costs nothing. You just load that up, load into your gun, go to the offline mode, and just start shooting things. You can learn the recoil of the gun. You can learn, the mechanics of it, how to actually get rid of the, let's just say the gun jams. You can learn how to get rid of the jams from the gun while you're in offline mode. You can see what kind of, materials the gun will go through, like what different ammos will do to certain materials, and it really does help. You know, you can learn, hey, now this person may be sitting inside this building, but there's a weak spot where you can shoot through the metal on this building, whether it's a little tiny shack or not, and boom, you can kill them. So all these different things you can learn while you're doing the offline mode. So if you're never familiar with a weapon, you know, yes, you can use the firing range, but I feel like the firing range is only kind of giving you a small aspect of what you can learn. If you're learning weapons, you need to be able to what they look like while playing it on an actual live map, or in this instance, an offline map. So that's what I would recommend: taking your weapon, bring a bunch of cheap ammo, and just get out there. Or just take a variety of ammo. You know, pick up some M855, grab 995 or whatever you have available to you through a trader, and just take a little bit at a time and test it out. It does truly help you out, and it trains your mind to go, okay, this ammo will take care of this. This ammo will take care of this. It'll shoot through this object. Falls off in this distance. Test it out. Try them out. And I guess the last tip that I would give you is game mentality, gear fear. And game mentality, gear fear is a little bit different than any of the other tips I've given you. This is basically comes to, coming into Tarkov from playing other FPSs and understanding that this is not your typical FPS. This is not your Call of Duty. This is not your Battlefield. This is a standard game all of its own that has so many different mechanics that you don't see in other FPSs that are pretty simplistic. And I do call those games very simplistic, even Battlefield, because they're very simplistic shooters. Here's mechanic 1, mechanic 2, play the game. Versus Tarkov, here's mechanic 1, here's mechanic 89, play the game. And there's many things to learn, and understanding that you got to use all your things available to you to be able to learn the game. So what I recommend to everyone is that every game that you've ever played, other than obviously learning how to press left click, right click, and all the normal standard moving mechanics, forget everything you learn about mechanics of video games, because Tarkov is going to mold your brain to go, all right, here's how I play this versus other games. So just take your time. Remember that it is a learning curve anytime that you're learning a new game, and Tarkov is going to take you a little bit longer to learn. So remember, one, you're going to have to move up in gear to be able to learn the game more, because that's a different mechanic versus having the lower gear. That's a whole different mechanic versus having level 5 armor versus level 1. You got to learn all these different mechanics to understand the game fully. And I would recommend to you that just take your time, because this game is a very brutal game. But once you learn it, you learn all the mechanics of it, or at least a majority of them. It is so much fun, and this is why more people will tell you to switch to this game versus something else, because it just does something. It gives you a little bit more excitement than other games. So I hope this was helpful, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. I understand that a lot of people will have that gear fear in their brain for a while, but I do hope that some of these tips that I've given today will be helpful to you to be able to learn the game more, or learn an aspect of the game that you're really fearing, and that will help you pull some of the stuff out of your stash that's just sitting there, but that's been sitting there for months or maybe even weeks, and you'll be able to use that. If you liked the video today, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below what you enjoyed about the video, what you're excited about for the future videos, and also subscribe, ding the notification bell. And I'll see you in the next one.